Back in the workshop this morning, so lovely morning, but it is quite chilly this morning. So before we go up in the boat and do some more laminating, we're just waiting for the temperature to build up a little bit. So I'm just going to have a quick look at this moulding for the sliding roof system. So last time we gel coated here, we'd already gel coated this before and then rubbed through, so we had to put another layer of gel coat on. So that's done, that's set up. And so what I'll do now is I'll just put a little bit of guide coat on here, some 400 or 500 grit, wet and dry. And we'll just go over this and see if we can get this to a nice finish. Okay, so half an hour on that, and that's looking a lot better. It's not perfect. It's got a tiny little crater in it here, which I could probably sand out, and just a little bit here. But to be fair, this is all underneath, so it's going to be flipped over. This will never ever be seen. So I'll leave that for now. If I get another 10 minutes, I might give it another polish, but it's pretty damn good. So what we'll do now is we'll go back up on the boat and have a look at what laminating we need to do. Last time we record this area, so this is ply, 2 sections of ply, and then at the end here is a section of end grain bolser. It's had 2 layers of chop strand mat, turned out really nice, really pleased with the way that this turned out. However, we did run out of resin, so we need to get another layer on top of this. So what we'll do is we'll give it a quick sand. We have actually got some areas here where this is where the screws were, the poking down, so we'll sand those off as well. Give it all a quick sand, and then we'll get the final layer of chop strand mat on. So that laminate is now on, and that has turned out really nice. We're happy with the way that turned out. So sand, wiped it down with acetone, another layer, and actually we found using a 4-inch roller, is it a 4-inch roller? Yeah, 4-inch roller, 100mm, rather than put it on with a brush, which you end up with it all over your hands and your wrists and all over yourself. Just rolled it on with a little nylon roller. A lot nicer job. Also smoothed the resin out nicely as well. So that was a bit of a learning curve for us today. We've been using brushes and it's so much easier with a roller. When we finished, we just buffered this into place as well. So this is just bonding paste. Richard just cut a template and cut this out of the bolster that we'd got, 1/2-inch bolster. So this was done when we did the other side. So we've repaired one side and we cut all of the rotten bolster out of here, but we just never got round to actually putting the new bolster in place. So that's bonded up. These stands are just holding it in place while the bonding paste goes off. And what we'll do now is we're using the same template again that we used for the bolster. We'll cut 3 layers of chop strand mat and we'll get that laminated in. got everything ready to go. So we've got our polyester resin, we've got a litre of that, we've got some thickened to go around the edges, and then we've chopped all of our mat already. We've got 3 pieces there, all labelled up. Paddle roller, glasses because you do get it in your eyes very easily, gloves, and 4-inch rollers for applying the resin. Bolser is in. Nice to get that finished off. That means now the whole of this deck is all now completely repaired. We did do this slightly differently to the other side, so obviously use the 1/2-inch bolser as before, but what we've done is on the joints here, rather than putting bonding paste in there, which sort of leaves like a dark brown line, we've used thickened polyester with microfibers and Cavasil, and it just means it's slightly more seamless, especially sort of here. I mean, you can still see a line, but it just seems a little bit less prominent than when we did it on this side, where we've used the bonding paste as basically as a filler. But it doesn't make any difference to the strength. It's just aesthetically that's probably not quite as nice. But we're always learning as we go on this job. So next we've got underneath this walkway here. So this is where we've previously removed a whole section of rotten balsa. So taken all that out, chopped it all out. Also done some spot repairs on the balsa over here. So what we're going to do now is laminate this in. So we've cut 3 sections, so split it into 1 metre sections, and we'll laminate all of the underside of here. So all I need to do now is I've sanded everything, sanded the corners, so I'll just give it a wipe with acetone, and then we'll be able to get that all on. It's a few days later and this is all now set up. So we've got about 3 meters of that done with 3 layers of chopped strand mat with a foam in there. So we've probably got about another 2 meters to go. We do transition over here to some bolser repair, so this was not all rotten across here, so we've just sort of spot repaired it where we needed to, and then where it got really bad, which was basically just here all the way back, we just completely replaced that with foam. So all we need to do now is just give this area under here a quick sand, get it all prepped, wipe down with acetone, and then we can get some layers of chopped strand mat on here as well. Okay, so it is a few days later. Managed to laminate all under here, so this whole walkway now is done and repaired. Use some paper tape under here just to mask the joint, which is what the original boat builders have done up here, and just sort of tried to replicate that, and that actually makes a far nicer job than perhaps some of the joints we've done previously, which actually I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape over these. I'm going to sand those down and tape over those and laminate those in, and I think we can probably make this look a little bit tidier. It doesn't really matter because it's hidden, but I think while we're at it, we could certainly make this look a little bit better than it does now. Also, I had some spare resin, so I just laminated in across the bottom here, so the bed moulding, and also up the side of the front bulkhead here. So that's had 5 layers of 600 gram on. So I need to do that all the way around here now. So what I'll do is I'll get the sander out, we'll get all this sanded, and we'll also get this sanded down here and get this all glassed in. Okay, so this forward bulkhead now is fully tabbed in. That's had a good 4 or 5 layers of 600 gram chop strand mat. Just used the 600 gram band and just cut it to length. Did run out of resin along here, so for doing this part, so I'm just waiting for the resin to arrive. I removed the original tabbing because we couldn't be 100% sure that we'd sanded it correctly in our haste to get this moulding in. We just couldn't remember if we'd sanded this, so just took it off, sanded it with 40 grit. This has been moulded out of white resin anyway, so it doesn't look like the gel coat's gone, but I can assure you it has. So once we've got some more resin, I'll be able to get that tabbed in. In the meantime, I'm just looking at this bulkhead now, sort of trying to work our way back. So this is the bulkhead that forms the forward cabin, and we're just missing bottom section here. I think on the original boat that would have actually gone onto a fiberglass moulding, which we don't have. So what I'll do is I'm going to cut a new piece of bulkhead to go in there. That will be able to tab that on then to the stringer, and we'll reinforce it as well and glass it in some way just to make sure that that is super strong. Okay, that's going to be a wrap for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. We'll see you on the next one.